On June 17th, the Council of Europe voted in favor of extending EU sanctions against the Crimea until June 23, 2017, in connection with Russia's illegal annexation of the Crimea. These sanctions include a ban on imports and exports to and from the Crimea. European cruise ships are also forbidden from calling at Crimean ports. On June 21st, ambassadors from 28 EU countries unanimously agreed to prolong extensive economic sanctions against Russia for half a year, until January 31, 2017. These sanctions were leveled against Russia in July 2014 in response to its annexation of the Crimea, its violation of Ukraine's territorial integrity, and the downing of Malaysia Airlines Flight 17. However, the decisions to extend sanctions against Russia are being made against the backdrop of waning European unity regarding that country. On June 8, the French Senate voted in favor of a resolution urging the government to relax EU sanctions against Russia. Representatives of Italy, Greece, and Hungary have also questioned the need for continuing these sanctions. During his official visit to France, President of Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko, expressed Ukraine's concern at the possibility of sanctions being lifted at a time when Russia is flouting its duties and responsibilities designated by the Minsk Protocol. Partly because of economic and political difficulties being faced by the EU, and partly owing to effective lobbying efforts on the part of Russia, some European politicians and nations are calling for the lifting of sanctions against Russia in 2017. Ukraine is compiling 2 new petitions to the European Court of Human Rights in relation to the actions of Russia in the occupied Crimea and in the Donbas region of Ukraine. 4 other petitions were previously filed with the court by Ukraine. The new complaints concern the persecution of Crimean Tatars in the Crimea and the ban on the representative body, the Mejlis. The Mejlis of the Crimean Tatar people is the single highest executive representative body of the Crimean Tatars in the Crimea, and it is a member institution of the European Union's Platform of European Memory and Conscience, an international NGO whose primary mandate includes increasing public awareness about the crimes of totalitarian regimes. At the same time, a committee has been formed in Ukraine to devise a plan for changing the constitution of Ukraine to grant national and territorial autonomy to the Crimean Tatars in the Crimea. Volunteers in Ukraine continue to come up with ingenious ways of supporting Ukrainian soldiers who are battling Russian aggression in eastern Ukraine. For almost a year, Ukrainian postal carriers have sold patriotic postcards for 10 hryvnia each, approximately 50 cents Canadian, asking people to write inspirational messages to Ukrainian soldiers and then delivering them. And the proceeds were used to buy an ambulance for military use. This year, 6 Ukrainians have been named righteous among the nations by the State of Israel. This honorific is used to describe non-Jews who risked their lives during the Second World War to save Jews from extermination by the Nazis. In June, the ambassador of Israel to Ukraine bestowed a medal to 88-year-old Oksana Antipchuk from Zhytomyr Oblast, who had saved a Jewish boy when she was 13 years old. 5 other Ukrainians were given medals posthumously. Ukraine has the 4th largest number of righteous. Poland, the Netherlands, and France are 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in numbers. To date, over 2,500 Ukrainians have been named righteous among the nations. In cultural news, world-renowned British opera singer of Ukrainian origin, bass baritone Pavlo Hunka, made his solo debut in Ukraine on June 5th in Kyiv and June 9th in Lviv. His concert, Shevchenko and Shakespeare, features art songs by Ukrainian composers Mykola Lysenko, Yakov Stepovy, and Stefania Turkevich, composed to the poems of Taras Shevchenko, as well as a new cycle of art songs by contemporary composer Alexander Yakovchuk, written to accompany the Ukrainian translations of Shakespeare's sonnets. Hunka's performances received high praise from audiences and critics in Ukraine. Pavlo Hunka is the driving force behind the Ukrainian Art Song Project, supported primarily by the Ukrainian-Canadian diaspora. I'm Tania Stech, and this was Ukraine in the News.